Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. This is going to be a quick hitter, guys. I got Phil Lydick here from What If, one of our 5 shows a week that we put out. Check them all out. And today we're playing a little game called Does It Matter or Does It Matter? Phil, you've got a couple things to run by me. What you got today, buddy?
Yes, Adam, because you say if it happens on Twitter or X now,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. I found some things just for that. So you can tell us, Hawk fans, if it matters or doesn't matter. And we'll jump right in here. And this is considering this next game, but especially homing in on with the Seahawks. At K2049 said both the Browns and the Seahawks are top 5 in defensive success rate per play. Big way of saying we make the other offense fail a lot on their play. Hawks are number 1 since October 1st on success rate per play. Does that kind of stat matter or not matter, Adam?
That's a massive matter because
Oh,
coming
okay.
into the season, I think both you and I, Phil, were like, dude, I don't know about this defense. I feel pretty good about the offense, but the
Yeah.
defense is the part that feels scary. And now, as we've gotten to this point of the season, it almost feels flip flopped. But the
Yeah.
idea that they started out and they've been good overall, but then are really turning it up here lately since October 1st, right? To be number 1, I think that matters a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to see the other offense just get strangled. So I
Yeah.
agree. Next one, and this one's out there a bunch, but it was also at K2049 put it succinctly. Geno Smith is top 10 in turnover worthy plays facing pressure. And here in this throwback game, you may know we're playing the Browns, who have some
Mhm.
big time pressure causers, one particular Miles Garrett, but also up the middle, all kinds of places. Does this matter or not matter that Geno is top 10 in turnover worthy plays against pressure?
This is a fat doesn't matter. And
Okay.
I know this is coming from a lot of people that are anti Geno, and I get that. That's fine. You can be that way if you want. But point being is, you talk about pressure. Geno's been under pressure almost every drop back. I mean, before the the Bengals game, like he was under pressure over 40% of the
Yeah.
time. If you're under pressure a ton, you're probably going to have more opportunities to create turnover worthy plays. And on top of that, where does this stat come from? Is this a PFF stat? And
Yes.
like, who's judging it? And
Yeah.
I would like to go back and double check that too and be like, is that actually turnover worthy or not? Like, I don't see Geno throwing a bunch of near picks like I see Brock Purdy do about every game. So to me, no thanks, man. This is a fat does not matter.
We can go. I'd like to go back and see which ones they said were turnover worthy. And then we got to
Yes.
decide, was he under pressure? Yes. Okay. So that's fine. And then was this turnover worthy? That's where we do X, like X is in no or X is
Yes.
in yes. Was it Geno's fault? There's all kinds of factors. Yeah. There's so much gray room in when you combine stats like that. Next one, Adam. Damon Mitri 1. He says this, and this is something that touches all of us, I think. But tell me if it matters. The Seahawks haven't been good at screens since way before Waldron. Does this matter or not matter? I think as far if it's true or not isn't really up for debate.
Yeah, sadly, this matters, man, because how many times do you see the Seahawks over the last 10 years just get screened to death when we're on
Yeah.
defense and then can't run a screen for the life of us? Like, it's one of the easier plays in football, seemingly from a fan's perspective. I know from a player's perspective, there's a lot of timing there and, trickeration and all that stuff. And then the quarterback has to make a nice touch pass usually. But at this point, man, like, it doesn't it feel like a Pete thing? And so that kind of matters, man. Like, I'm frustrated. You know why it matters, Phil, more than anything?
Why?
I'm frustrated. It pisses me off every week in, week out. And like, it's all
Oh,
about me.
yeah.
And I want the Seahawks to do better on screen. So I feel better about my fandom and all of that. Uh, I, I don't know. I haven't heard you rail about screens much, though, Phil. I don't know if this is a big deal to you.
I do it in the Discord. I like to show funny gifs of us smashing into screens. It's
Yep.
almost become like a meme joke for me at this point. It does it. So I've allowed it rather than the way you take it, Adam, and get angry. I've allowed
Yeah.
it to cause me humor and to get laughs out of it. I do think the reason we're bad at screens is because we're bad at screens. And here's what I mean. Our offense doesn't get to go against a good screen defense lately since KJ's gone. and then our defense never sees a good screen in practice. So this happens in soccer as a coach. What we're bad at with crosses, we'll be bad at executing them, which makes us bad at defending them, because all week we go against a poor effort at crossing at corner kicks. And so I think the Hawks have the same issue. Other than KJ being there, we've been bad at defending them, so we're terrible at executing them. That's
It's
just
a
my
negative feedback loop, is what you're saying.
yes. We're not
Okay.
practicing against the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense.
Oh, last one, Adam, and several. This is all over Twitter, so I'm not quoting one person. How do we respond to the real big bummer Nwosu issues besides having our sad emotions satiated by the glorious Weiner loss? How else do we deal with it for the rest of the season here, Adam? There's a few options I've seen out there. Just elevate Levi Bell or Treek Smith. Get Frank Clark or Bruce Irvin. So go back to the past, go back to the future. I mean, throwback all the way.
Mhm.
Trade for one of these big guys on the final year of their deal, like Josh Uche from the Patriots, right? Daniil Hunter from the Vikes, Chase Young or Montez Sweat are actually being shopped right now from the commies. So do you have an idea, or does this even matter? Are we not going to do anything? It matter, not matter? What do you think we should do, Adam?
I mean, it matters in terms of Nwosu's injury, right? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
said, what should we do? Like, shed a tear first. I love
Yeah.
Chenna Nwosu. This hurts my heart because he
Yeah.
has been playing very well for us. And just to watch his career progress has been really cool. So, what do you do to replace that, right? Well, maybe you draft a dude with the first pick that you have in the second round. Maybe that's what you do, like
Okay.
Derek Hall. You heard Pete talk about it on his coaching show with Brock and Salk. Now, he hadn't released the information that Nwosu was out for the year yet, but he
Yeah.
was talking about how Derek Hall was a spitting image of Boye Mafe last year, who was a productive player
And
and
good to
did
set the
very
edge. Yeah.
yeah, did very well. Now, is he better this year? You bet. But why not get Derek Hall those reps so that he has that experience going into next year so he can make that sophomore jump? Now, as far as trading, the NFL trade deadline, there's not often monster trades at
Yeah.
this time of year. It's not the NBA. And then secondly, it's not really in John's DNA either. And you trade for, say, Sweat or Young, you're going to have to pony up a big contract. I'd be a little more interested in Brian Burns if he's available.
Yeah.
Younger, very productive, and maybe you'd have to give up a smidgen less, but that's a lot of draft capital in a year that I'm not sure you're just a player away from going for it. So I would save that
Yeah.
draft capital.
Can we just trade D. Eskridge for, like one of those guys you said?
Yeah,
Probably not,
yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. It's not that easy to just get a trade done.
Exactly. It's not. And unfortunately, the trade market for D, bag of footballs,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. I think we roll the dice with his usefulness this year, considering what
Yeah.
we might get from his final year. But that's what I've got on matters or not
Absolutely.
matter. I think that there's some things that matter right now. With that last one, as far as edge, we're going to miss Mosu
Yeah.
pretty clearly. I'm not sure how I like what you said about just getting Hall ready for next year, but that might be all that we can do. I mean, like you said, this isn't the year maybe yet. I'm still not going to say that I'm sure this isn't the year, but I totally think that opinion has reason to be the primary.
Sure, for sure, man. So that's kind of what I think about some of this stuff. Phil gave you a little bit of his tidbits here. Whatever
Yeah.
you guys have on your mind, leave it down in the comments. Let us know.
Yes.
Tell me how fucking stupid I am and how wrong I am, or
But-
tell me how genius I am. And just give Phil good comments because he's a lovely human. So I think
Say
with
what
that,
matters, say what doesn't matter. And yeah, with that, you're right. There's only one thing left to say.
yeah, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.